with crypto, and I'll go through my crypto journey in a bit, but the crypto question is, and I asked Peter Schiff this, is the world going to be more digital tomorrow than it is today? If the answer is that, then the probabilistic outcome is this space is going to continue to see adoption.
Wait a minute, everyone. Welcome to BitcoinZilla, your platform for daily cryptocurrency analysis and news. Our mission is to keep it simple. BitcoinZilla offers engaging information that is easy to understand. Our analysts keep their eyes on the latest news to provide valuable insights via email. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Join our community of 10,000 subscribers and experience the new edge with BitcoinZilla. Subscribe now. In today's video, Raoul talks about his experience working in traditional finance, how he became interested in taking crypto seriously, why NFTs are at the top of the pyramid, how to get ahead in this new technology, and more. So without wasting any time, let's dive into the video.
So I realized that the best global macro people live in the future. And you basically, and George Soros wrote a lot about this, where he would basically live in the future and then look at the probabilistic outcomes from where we are today to get to that point and would trade those. And that's what I learned. To jump 3 or 4 steps ahead, you have to kind of live there and work backwards and say, which path is it coming? Is it going to happen or not? It's a kind of weird way of looking at things. And I found I could distill a lot of it down to a chart first. And I learned that from Paul and Stan. He was a big chart guy. In fact, a lot of them were. So I could get most of these guys, when I was a salesman, into a trade just by showing them a chart. So there was a chart of the European telcos back in the late 90s. And this is when they issued 3G licenses and the UK auctioned them off. And it almost bankrupted the telcos because they paid so much money for this 3G license. And I had seen this chart pattern developing that looked like this huge head and shoulders top. And I was showing it to Paul and to Lewis and others. And Lewis had figured it out immediately, well before I understood what was going on. He's like, well, every European country wants the tax revenue or the revenue of selling off these 3G licenses. They're all going to auction them, and it's going to pretty much bankrupt the entire telco industry. And he shorted the whole lot. But it was all in that chart, and Paul followed suit. And he's not really a sector trader, but A, he's friends with Lewis, but B, he could see from the chart, and the chart was telling a story. So that chart was saying, okay, in the future, it looks like these stocks are going to fall massively. And then you can come back and find the story of why. And that I find super useful.
Data showed BTC price action lingering near $67,000, with ETH price at $3,670. Both had offered a muted reaction to news that United States regulators had approved the launch of spot Ether exchange-traded funds, ETF. A significant achievement for the crypto industry and a sharp U-turn on policy for the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, the ETF were nonetheless not yet ready to trade. Additional preparations, which analysts suggested could take several weeks, pushed back the likely launch date. Discussing the latest events, James Seifert and Eric Balchunas, dedicated ETF analysts at Bloomberg Intelligence, entertained the idea of a mid-June go-ahead. Popular trader Don Crypto Trades saw the potential for Bitcoin's share of the overall crypto market cap to be challenged considerably once the Ethereum ETF launched. With the recent ETH rally, we've seen Bitcoin dominance head back down. He wrote in part of a post on X. This has been in an uptrend for about 1.5 years, and if there's anything that could reverse this trend, it would be ETH leading on the back of an ETF being approved. 52% and 48% are the main levels.
Something that I've learned, and when I don't hold competing thoughts, is when I get myself into trouble. Because now it becomes this, you often become a justice warrior. You want the world to be so. And you look at everything through that frame, and you get yourself in a huge mess. What you need to do is say, I think it's this way. This is my supporting evidence. But I also understand there could be other things here that I'm not understanding that may change the probabilities. Remember that George Soros idea of the changing probabilities? That's exactly what you've got to do at all stages. With crypto, and I'll go through my crypto journey in a bit, but the crypto question is, and I asked Peter Schiff this, is the world going to be more digital tomorrow than it is today? If the answer is that, then the probabilistic outcome is this space is going to continue to see adoption. Right, it's pretty simple. My crypto journey actually came back from the financial crisis of 2008 and the European sovereign crisis when I was living in Spain. I thought we were going to lose the banks over the weekend, and the ECB actually forced a bailout of the banking system. And the Spaniards, being a proud nation, didn't want it, but they took it in the end. They were forced to. I was buying a generator and tin food. I thought we were going to lose the banks. My parents' friends had had their money confiscated from local caixas, local banks, savings banks. People in the property industry, there was a lot because I lived in a beach town. Half of them went bankrupt. And I got to the realization that nobody owns anything in the financial system. Not even the money in your bank account is yours. And when Lehman went under, they realized that there's collateral at the bottom of the system and all this leverage on top. And so everybody's got a claim on the same thing. And so you don't own any of that either. So that made me start a journey of trying to start the world's safest bank, because I thought maybe there could be a bank that just holds treasuries. And we got stopped by the Dallas Fed, who said, this is a great idea. And we were like, thank you. And they said, but you're not going to get a license. And we said, why not? They said, because you'll take all the deposits from the banking system. And that was 2012. That's when a friend of mine, Emil Woods, who's very early in this space, told me about Bitcoin. I'd seen Bitcoin since 2010. I'm a macro guy. My job is to figure out what these things are. But by 2012, I realized that blockchain was the answer, because then we could have the recorded ownership of assets, which we didn't have. You know, we had this weird ledger system, but everybody else had a claim on it, and you didn't know that at the time. So I saw that immediately, saw the kind of gold value of Bitcoin back then, and I wrote the first ever macro strategy piece on it. And I said back then, this is the greatest trade the world has ever seen. And it's proven out to be true.
There could be two main reasons why the price of Ether has barely moved despite the landmark approval of spot Ether exchange-traded funds, ETF, in the United States. On May 23, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, approved 8 spot Ether ETF to be listed on their respective exchanges. Ether fell 3.4% just before the news, recovering by around 5% shortly after. ETH is trading at $3,806 at the time of writing. Crypto commentator Zach Renz argues that the lack of movement reflects the notion that everyone who wanted to buy the approval already did. Ether had already surged 29% over the past week after reports suggested the SEC may have pivoted its stance toward ETF approvals. Rines and many others also note that while the ETF have been approved, they still haven't been cleared to launch. That will require an approved S-1 filing, which is a comprehensive document including details on the firm's financials and risk profile, as well as the securities they intend to offer. VanEck has just sent its amended S-1 filing to the SEC, and analysts have been saying it could take weeks to months for the S-1 approvals. ETF haven't actually launched yet, so net new capital inflow is still to come, Rines wrote, with crypto research firm Second Mountain echoing a similar sentiment. Expect a massive capital inflow in the first week, potentially reaching billions, Second Mountain stated in a May 23X post just before the SEC approved the ETF. However, some say it might not immediately lead to an upward trend. Bitcoin's price dropped 15% after spot Bitcoin ETF were approved for trading on January 10. According to CoinMarketCap data, it took 30 days for the price to spike 30% to $51,870. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Seller. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. I do not know why you have not subscribed yet. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.